Hi guys, Nicky and Nadia here. We are two of the business development managers in Queensland, and today we're really excited to share some information with you guys. It's all around the personal customer time or personal connection time, and it's how you can actually use that time to maximise your results and make it count.
Totally agree. I love that connection time because we are in a relationship building business, and this part of the CookX is just absolute gold when it comes to really building on that rapport and those relationships to catapult your business forward.
So what's this session all about? Well, it's been put together to give you a better understanding of how you can use that personal connection time or personal customer time to positively influence the outcomes for you and your customers from each and every single one of your cooking experiences. It's going to help you build your skills and also your confidence so that you have a great ending to every CookX that you do, where you've listened to the customer's needs and then you've provided what you can do for them so that they can make an informed decision about the Thermomix. So we're going to cover the benefits of the personal customer time, and you'll be writing down notes and tips and some ideas of what you'll do differently going forward. So how do we make every experience count, Nicky? Give us some context around that. How can we bring it all together? We know that it's not just all about the sale.
Absolutely. So the CookX sometimes can be our very first interaction with these hosts and guests in front of the Thermomix. And the way I like to view the value of the personal connection time is it means that once you're in the car at the end of it all and you're having to think about how it all went, you know exactly, for each person, exactly what the next step is in their customer journey. You know what they're looking for and what their THM is, you know, a little bit about their life, and you've got a solid rapport. And this is how you really, really show that you value them as a person and what they've shared with you in that CookX.
Yeah, absolutely. So we know so much about the Thermomix. We combine that with the great food, the flip chart, and the customer feedback form. And using all of that, we sit with them at that personal customer time, and that's where we actually bring it all together. That's where we make it count.
So what is personal customer time? So you might have also heard it referred to as PCT, connection, one-on-one, and it's that time toward the end of the cooking experience where you take a moment with each person and establish the next steps in their Thermomix journey with them. So while they're eating the food, you've served up the food and you just go straight into spending a little bit of time with each person.
And as you know from your initial training, it's broken into 4 sections. We've got the introduction, we've got the cooking, we've got the serving, and then we've got what we're talking about today, the personal customer, personal connection time. So it's a key component to the cooking experience. I like to refer to it as you go and do your grocery shopping. So, you know, the host coaching, that's the menu planning. The actual going to the shops and putting everything in the trolley, you know, that's where you're actually doing the cooking and the serving. So the last bit is where you're at the checkout.
Ooh,
And
I
all you've got
like
to do is pay for it and take it home. So are you just going to leave your trolley there and skip that step and go home and all that time invested doing the host coaching or the menu planning, as we're referring to it, and then filling the trolley and putting in the work, actually getting to know what's in your trolley and then just leaving it at the checkout? Probably not. So this is
Prob-
the important bit. This is where you actually, you know, you give them exactly what they need. You've built the rapport, you've built the relationship. Does that make sense?
I think that's such an awesome analogy, Nadia. That's really, really cool. And I think there are lots of different ways that we can establish that as what is going to happen during the cooking experience. We're kind of setting an agenda in that introduction. You know, we need to actually say, so I'll be spending a few moments with each of you when the main dish is being served so that I can better understand how best to support you and answer any other questions that may have come up in your feedback forms or from your experience today. And you actually want to plant that seed 3, 4, 5, 6 times throughout that CookX. We know that people need to hear things 6 to 8 times in order to really hear it once. And so plant that seed all the way through that you will be having that personal connection time. Perhaps you could say something along the lines of, oh, I love that question, Nadia. How about you and I chat about that during our one-on-one time at the eating part of the cooking experience? So once we finish this session together, I'd love for you to take a bit of time with your flip chart and go through and identify some other spots where you could potentially plant the seeds about personal connection time.
Yeah, absolutely. And then where that leads you, what are the possible outcomes? They could be purchasing a Thermomix, they could be booking a cooking experience, or a one-on-one, an individual cooking experience. An expression of interest, it's a great opportunity to talk about the business opportunity. Booking them into cooking classes, it's an easy process now where they can book online. And seeking that permission to call.
Absolutely. Deciding to own a Thermomix is a big and important decision, and it's not always made at the cooking experience. Sometimes it is, but not always. And so feel empowered that, it may not be all of these things you talk about. It may just be that one thing that's going to bring that customer a step closer to where they want to be. It's really all about building trust with that individual and communicating with them on their level and in a way that makes them feel really comfortable and like you've got their back.
So what are the benefits to you, the consultant, the host, and the guest? It's all about building a sustainable relationship and contributed positively to their lifestyle. So let's think about the host. They want to see that you're respectful of their guests, that you're listening to what they have to say. It's really important that we thank the host and clarify the host rewards. What's on offer for them at the moment? Run through those great offers, have printouts. So some people are visual learners, have those handy so that you can share that with them at that one-on-one personal customer time, and take the time to purchase if that's their decision. So run them through the next step for them. What about the guests, Nick?
So with the guests, it's really showing them that you care about them. They've invested time in you and the Thermomix and the CookX, and you're now, repaying them with that acknowledgement that you care. It's a great opportunity to help build respect and trust. They can relax around you and feel good about their decision. If they need more info, you're able to provide it when and where and how they desire it. You're helping them to explore, understand what's next to them, how you can help them get to where they want to be. You can also have your diary there and confirm a date immediately. It's nice and convenient for them. And showing that you're a professional in doing what you do. You're efficient, you're quick, you're warm, you're friendly, all of those beautiful traits that we know and love about our consultants.
Absolutely. And they're the benefits for the host and guest. But when it comes to you, the consultant, it gives you the opportunity to just connect more, build on the relationship and trust that you've already established. It gives you the opportunity to answer all their questions and also for you to ask them questions, seek some clarity, so that you are actually picking up what they're putting down. You've got that really clear understanding. You'll hear from their tone of voice and their body language how interested they are. And you've got that time to explore what those next steps will be. So help create curiosity during this time and questions around the business opportunity. It saves you admin time at home. If you're using your personal customer time efficiently, you can actually complete the booking and the purchase right there and then. So it's saving you time in follow-up. Make the most of what's on offer each month. Those host rewards, they're just gold. They're actually there for a reason because we want to reward the people who invest their time to welcome others to come and invite them into their homes and share the Thermomix. Ask them who they know who might be interested or who would benefit from seeing the Thermomix in action, and ask them if they want to share your details.
The advocacy triangle. I love
this triangle.
So great. So quick crash course, a little reminder, and we'll start from awareness at the bottom of that triangle. So awareness, that's where people are just beginning to find out what the Thermomix is. They don't know a huge amount, but they know it exists, pretty much. Then we've got curiosity. So they're wondering how it's going to fit in their life, how it works, what it can do, what it can't do. Just wanting to know a bit more and a bit more and a bit more.
So that's when they're kind of ready to, which day, which time will suit you better, yeah?
Yeah.
Let's book in a Cook-Ex, let's book in a one-on-one. What usually
Yeah.
happens after curiosity is we reach that level of conversion. So that's they've made their decision, they're ready to purchase. Once they've got a Thermomix, the next step is loyalty. They love it. They love you. They're a confident user. What about advocacy, Nick?
Oh, our raving fans. Gotta love those raving fans and all the referrals that they can bring into your business. They want to refer their friends, their family, their colleagues, everyone they know. They're sending your way because they think you are a top gun for sharing the Thermomix, which is an amazing machine, with them and their family. Something that's really important to note, though, with this advocacy triangle is that this, for some people, can take 3 minutes, and for some, it can take 3 years. The important thing is to stay in touch, be present, follow through on what you say you're going to do, and just be there to walk through that journey at whatever pace suits them and their family.
Yeah, definitely. And it comes back to 3 points for me when I look at this triangle. It's all about the trust, the rapport, and that sustainable relationship. So we actually know that over 70% of our customers actually make the decision to welcome a Thermomix into their kitchen due to a relationship.
So
So
let's run through that part of the cooking experience, that PCT bit where we're serving up the main meal and we're taking time with each guest. Now, ideally, you want to spend a good 5 to 10 minutes with each person and just get curious. Ask them questions. Questions are the answers, and engage in meaningful conversation with them. It could be about the Thermomix. It could just be about something interesting that you learned about them. Whatever it may be, you really want to focus on rapport building. You want to set up the other guests with activities because you're going to be really investing your energy and your focus into one individual at a time. So a great thing to do is assign each person a job. It could be that you've brought an iPad along and you've set up your cookiedoo.com.au with different playlists that could suit one of the guests and they can play with that. Perhaps another one would like to use your Thermomix and explore what you've got on your cook key on the machine. There are plenty of different activities though. So get creative.
absolutely. Yeah, it's really handy to have an iPad just for work because there's the kiosk there as well, which is great. There's some really cool testimonials on there from chefs. If you've got someone that's a bit chefy there, the cookbooks are such a great resource. I've got a few consultants who actually, they check their RSVPs on their cooking experiences so that if they can see if someone said that they're dairy intolerant or gluten-free, they can actually highlight some pages in some of those books and put a sticky note on the front of that book with their name on it. So at that personal customer time, it creates more rapport building and it gives them an opportunity to say, hey, I've thought about you.
What an amazing way to make that PCT a real highlight of the experience for the host and the guests. How special would they feel? I love it.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. So another thing that's a really great idea is a personal customer time folder. So talk to your team leader about how you can create one of these. I know that I've heard some incredibly great success stories from consultants who choose this as a way of kind of creating desire. So when you give them their customer feedback form that they're actually completing throughout the cooking experience, rather than putting the brochure and all the information about Host Rewards in that folder as well, just give them the feedback time. So that you've actually, if they want more information, if they want take-home information, if they need to pillow talk it, talk to other people in the households, whether it's going to be the best decision, you can actually have that conversation one-on-one as opposed to handing the flyers out so everyone gets one. They need to come to you to get that, and the personal customer time is where you give those additional items to take away with. So it creates desire. It's also another step in ensuring they don't go, oh, well, I've eaten, now I'm going to run. Because like Nicky said before, it starts at the start. At the end of today's cooking experience, I'm actually going to spend some one-on-one time with you answering your questions. And that's where you can prompt them and say, I've got some great little marketing materials that you guys can take home with you. And I'll share those with you at those one-on-one conversations. So building rapport, but also creating desire. There's some great resources available around calculations of cost savings. So when you're having that one-on-one conversation, if they've highlighted that saving money is a huge thing for them, that's a great opportunity for you to actually pull out some of those figures and a highlighter and get them to highlight just a couple of the things that they would buy at least once a month when they're doing their grocery shopping, so that it becomes even more relevant for them on how they can save money and the Thermomix can earn its place on their kitchen bench, particularly with our great interest-free offer that we've got available at the moment.
Awesome. The wonderful thing about going into that PCT with a bit of a game plan is that it really makes it easy, it's fun and relaxed, really conversational. And you're debunking any myths right at the beginning of the CookX by saying, so this is what you can expect when we get to this one-on-one time at the end. I've actually got activities set up for each of you, la, 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 la. So they know that you're actually just making it all about them.
Absolutely, but we want to give you guys some questions, a little bit of something to take away right now. You know, did you enjoy the cooking experience today? It's short, it's sweet. You're not digging deep. You're not asking them that, so you're ready to buy a question, which is something we don't do. We ask that question far more gently than that. So you know, what did you enjoy the most? What was your wish dish? You know, seeing the Thermomix in action now, picturing you had one in your kitchen, what would be the first thing that you would make? Be excited. They buy into your energy and your excitement. Do you have any questions for me? Put it back to them, you know. Is there anything we haven't covered? Is there anything that you thought the Thermomix might be able to make that you're not sure it will? Because there's not much that it can't do, let's be honest. And you want to ask them, how can I take you on your next steps on your Thermomix journey? If you're not comfortable saying that, then just say to them, you know, what's the next step for you? What can I do to support you? I'm really excited that we've had some time to connect today. You've mentioned that you've enjoyed the risotto, and yeah, if you could make one thing, it's profiteroles. So what's the next step for you? Are you wanting to get some friends together and share this experience that you've had today with some of your friends who you've thought about throughout today, thinking how they would benefit from seeing the Thermomix? Or are you keen for me to come over and just make for you and your family some profiteroles together so you can see that anything is possible? What's your next step? Which payment method? You know, if they're showing that you've noticed on their form that they're ready to buy, so I notice here that this is your preferred payment option, you know, when would you like to get a Thermomix on your kitchen bench? Would you like to book your own cooking experience? I noticed here that you would like to share the Thermomix with others. So which day suits you better, a weekday or a weekend? They've already indicated that they want to share it with friends, so you don't actually have to recap on that. You can actually use that feedback form as a tool to create those questions. So you're actually referring to information that they've already shared. So it's relevant. You're not actually being pushing and making a booking. You're actually just filling their need. What would you like to know more about, like running your own business? Is it something that appeals to you? That's where you create desire around the business opportunity for them. Who wouldn't want to work for themselves? You know, do you know anyone else who might be interested? Is there anything at all that I can help you with today? So questions are the answers. And sometimes if you're not clear, please don't ever assume. Ask another question, give them an example of what you're picking up, so that you're making sure that you are understanding them correctly, and say, so is this right? I'm hearing that you would love to save more money, but at the moment you're not really in a position to purchase a Thermomix. What's the next step for you? Like what can I do to make you see how the Thermomix will actually earn its place on your bench and you can actually save money each week? What can I do to do that? So that's where you're actually asking questions so that you can fill their need, because you can't fill their need unless you're really digging deep and have that clear understanding. Would you agree, Nick?
Absolutely agree. The other thing that I'd love to add on this page is about using assumptive language. So if you've spent, you know, the best part of an hour or an hour and a half talking with this individual, interacting with them, getting to know them, and they're giving you lots of green lights, so you might remember those from your new consultant training, those green light indicators of that's exactly what I need. Oh, I can't wait to show this to my mum. Oh my goodness, my sister's going to love it so much. Then it's a great way for you to feel empowered and excited to just get straight to it with them. Go to them first up and say, look, you sound like you're ready to rumble with having your own cookex. Is that right? And they'll be like, yeah, because they've already named all these people. You can even confirm that. So you've got your sister, your mum, la 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 la, your Auntie Sue, who all want to see who you would love to share the Thermomix with. So let's make that happen. Which is best for you, a weekend or a weekday? And go into it straight away and feel excited about it, because they're excited too. And if you're hesitant, it can actually plant a seed of doubt and really break down all of that amazing work that you and this other person have created together.
So on the next slide, we talk a bit more about booking a cooking experience. How easy is this for you? Think about the cooking experience that you've already done. Some of you may have done 1, some of you may have done 10, but think about those times and how easy was it for you to actually book a cooking experience at a cooking experience. Write some notes if you need to, so that you can come back and reflect on this. But I know that the personal contact time, that's time that can really help you improve outcomes on booking future cooking experience. You've built the trust, you've built the rapport during that cookex, and you've set the scene. So they've got a clear picture of that time that you're going to spend with them at the end. By this stage, they're pretty happy. You've given them some amazing food. You've given them an opportunity to have that sensory experience where they've actually been able to make the food themselves and see firsthand how quick and easy it is. They're pretty relaxed. They're feeling pretty connected to you. They've now opened up, and they're at that point where they're sharing their thoughts, they're asking questions, you're starting conversations with them, and there's great questions going backwards and forwards. So the next step is when they decide to see the Thermomix in action again and design their own cooking experience. So Nick, what can you add to that?
I completely agree, and I know I touched on it on that previous slide, but I just think it's so important that we do use that positive and empowered language and use wonderful tools that we have in our little tool belt, like the witch technique. And so when you're having that conversation, perhaps when you're asking questions, you might ask things like, so did you enjoy the cooking experience today? And you're probably pretty certain that they're going to say yes to that one. And then, can you see how this would save you time? If time is their thing, can you see how the Thermomix would save you time in the kitchen? Oh yes, I can see how it saved me time. Would you like to see the Thermomix again then? Would you like to have a play with it again? Sure thing. Great. So which is best for you then, a weekend or a weekday? Let's look at a time together that works for us, and we can figure out what that looks like as the next step.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that there's great power in observation. So if you've got an opportunity to go along to your team leaders' cooking experience, or if there's a successful consultant within your team or branch that you would love to know what they're doing differently, ask the question and see if you can tag along and, just sit in the background. You don't need to say anything or contribute anything. Remember, it's their cooking experience, but what you can take away from that is absolute gold. You'll be seeing a cooking experience in a different set of eyes. You may have been to 3 cooking experiences before, but I promise you, once you're a consultant, you do look at it through different eyes. And I still now learn incredible things when I get the opportunity to go along and observe a consultant or a team leader. So always make that a bit of a priority. If you've got time in your diary, but no cookex is booked in, then use that time to build your skills, to build your knowledge, to tag along. And when you get to a point where, you're ready to invite others along, repay the favour. But, never hold back from observations. There's great power in that. Do you agree, Nick?
Absolutely. I think observations are just such a huge way to build your skill set and build your business going forward. It's so exciting. And when you're going into it with an intention of something you're looking for, that you admire that the other person does really well, you're just going to walk away with bucket loads of gold to go and play with.
So the menu selection, that's something that we could do there. That's another opportunity for us to save time in our follow-up calls. Tell us a bit about that, Nick.
What I like to do all the way through the cookex is actually ask each person what they would love to see in their cooking experience and get them to create their menu as we go through. And so by the time we get to that personal connection time, they've actually chosen their menu already. That means when you're sitting one-on-one with them, you can just confirm which dishes, who they've got coming along, or who they think they may like to invite, and make sure that those dishes are right for both the host and also the guests, so we're not alienating people.
So it's all about practice. Don't be too hard on yourself, because every cooking experience will be different, but it is all about the practice. Just keep doing it and you'll be more comfortable and using the technology that we've got at hand to actually process bookings and sales there and then.
Mixit makes it so easy for us to book in our cooking experiences on the spot. And it's such a powerful piece of technology. I love that we can just sit and go, okay, cool. So let's lock in or reserve that date for you. What'll happen here is you'll now get 2 emails. The first one's just confirming all the details. And the second one is for you to then share with the people you'd like to invite. You can actually just copy and paste that into a text and send them that link, and then they can RSVP with their details, so I know that I'm planning a CookX that's on point for you and them too. So let's talk about the business opportunity.
I love our business, and just remember that you need to create interest and curiosity for them to want to know more about the business opportunity. Once they note their interest, then you can enter it as an expression of interest on Mixit, and then a team leader will be in touch base with them after that. So I guess, what's one thing that you love about the business? Take yourself back to when you were a consultant, Nick, and what were some of the standouts for you, or what was the driving force? What inspired you to want to know more about the business?
Well, I really needed something for me, and I've always been a foodie. And so becoming a consultant was a really great way to combine my passion for Thermomix as a machine, but also my absolute passion for food. And it just was a great marriage of those two worlds coming together for me to create a business. But what I found was I actually fell in love with the community more than anything. And to this day, that's something I'm such an advocate for, is the wonderful community we've got here in Thermoland, which you're hard pressed to find in a lot of other areas of society.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I love your story. I'll be honest, I actually signed up because I was a bit scared of the Thermomix. I wanted it right or wrong, but I wasn't really sure how to use it. So I thought if I joined the business, the people that were in the business obviously had lots of skills around how to use the Thermomix to its full potential. So I just wanted to learn how to use my Thermomix more. And nearly 5 years on, I can't walk away, because what I found is that I just love the personal growth. I love the people that I met. My customers are my friends. My colleagues are my friends. It's the Thermo buzz. It's the Thermo family. It's like no other job I've ever experienced before. And I think it's pretty special to be able to have the flexibility as well. I'm a mum of 2 little kids. You may have heard my little girl Demi in the background before. She's currently being bribed. With homemade Thermomix food, so that's what matters. But it's flexible. I love that I can drop my kids at school and pick them up and still, invest my time and be rewarded for it. So in many different ways. So yeah, think about the people around you that you've met in the Thermomix business and what's their story. Because we all come from a different place of desire or need, and what we find when we join the business is so much more. So never assume that someone's, the business opportunity isn't for them. I think you've got to offer it to everyone and find out how it might work for them. If they're showing the tiniest bit of interest, then the next step is just to ask a question in a gentle tone of voice and just say, you know what, would you be interested in actually finding out just a little bit more about what's involved with being a consultant?
Yeah, even
So
now, I
first,
still love cooking experiences. They're so much fun. And I know you guys all have lots of fun doing them too. And when that passion shines through, it's really contagious. And it's very easy then for you to say, how much fun is this? We're having so much fun together. Can you see yourself doing this too? Would you like to come and play and have some fun with me? And plant those seeds all the way through. And hey, if you've got spare aprons and you're popping them on each guest as they're cooking their dish, oh gosh, you look good in green, that apron really suits you, is a really funny one too. Lots of different things you can plant. And again, I stress that that concept of repeating things or planting those seeds 6 to 8 times, because, otherwise they might not even hear it the first time, or the second, or the third, or even the sixth, for that matter. So that way it's not coming in cold. You want to really build and build and build on it. Permission to call.
Yes, bang on.
So at this stage, you really want to confirm that, or I guess you really want to set the expectation that you will be giving the call in the next 24 to 48 hours, ideally within that 24-hour window, because you know that they will be thinking about the Thermomix nonstop. And I'm really sorry, guys, but you're not going to be able to sleep all week because you'll just be thinking Thermomix. And so I will give you a call in the next 24 to 48 hours to touch base and answer those questions that will most definitely pop up. Set that as the expectation, set the tone, and then follow through on that action with that phone call.
Yeah, and you want to book a time in your diary now, like while you're there with them, just say, what suits you better, when's the best time for me to give you that call? So it's actually a scheduled call. Again, you've set that expectation, like Nicky just said. I think it's also a great time when you give them a call to say, the other day we connected and I noticed this about you and your family, and I just thought, are you interested in me sending a couple of recipes that I think are really relevant to you and your family that you can scan your eyes over and check out? So it makes the conversation easy.
Absolutely. The more touch points we have, the more connection we focus on, the stronger that relationship is. It's easy to make those phone calls, and personal connection time is critical to that.
Yes, this is so true. And our beautiful Grace, who's the woman that brought Thermomix to Australia, she says very strongly, she said, don't forget about them and don't let them forget about you.
She's a wise woman, that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Little tokens of building that rapport can be like, if you've made the pizza dough at the cooking experience and you've left half with them, just let them know that you're going to follow up to see how they went with the pizza cooking. What toppings did they use? Let them know that it was such a positive experience for you. What's the next step for them? That's an ongoing question, because the next step never ends.
And the recurring theme here is that each conversation is different, and it really is customized to the individual. It could be talking about pizza dough. It could be talking about their kid's birthday party that was coming up. It could be any number of things. The possibilities really are infinite. And that's what keeps things interesting and exciting. So get really good at, writing some notes on those feedback forms about that person. So when you do get to call them, you really are being authentic and true and genuine, and they're going to pick up on that vibe and love you all the more for it.
What else can we do to add value? We're almost at the end of sharing all of our info with you guys, and I know that you've probably been taking notes, but it's one thing to take notes, but I think it's another to actually put a bit of a plan in place. Would you agree, Nicky?
Absolutely. Inspiration is good, but inspiration with action is better.
So what's one action that you can share that you will apply at your next cooking experience?
Go ahead and share that with your team leader and even your business development manager as well. They'd love to hear from you. They'd love to know what your takeaway is from this session and what that one thing is that you'll implement right now, today, into your business.
We're really grateful for your time. It is actually a little bit challenging for us trying to record a training when we haven't got people to play with and talk to, but we hope that the information that we've shared has given you some food for thought, no pun intended, but go away and think about how you can actually make that personal customer time at your cooking experiences really count. Don't leave the trolley at the checkout.